Hey everyone, this is HighZealot here and welcome to E3 of the Spring 2016 event. As you can see right here from my equipment, this is another transport operation, and this time around I have a lot more daihatsu and a lot more barrels. So if you recall from E2, it is recommended you bring aviation cruisers, and here, if you did bring aviation cruisers along, you would be using them in your main fleet instead of two light cruisers as I'm bringing here. You cannot bring normal heavy cruisers in your main fleet in a transport fleet. And the reason why you want aviation cruisers instead of light cruisers is they're stronger, and you can't bring anyone else because, let's say, you can't bring an aviation battleship because a slow fleet will lead you to node A, and you do not want that. So for this one, it's fairly simple. It's a transport operation, so you have combined fleet. You bring in fleet command facility, and you're pretty much good to go. The first node, once again, is light cruisers and destroyers. Ideally, you want to have all your barrels and daihatsu in your main fleet, while your escort fleet has guns to deal with these things. Abukuma is also carrying all daihatsu, so that may not have been the best idea. I did change it to equip the midget submarine and 2 daihatsu, and then I moved my last daihatsu to Bep or Hibiki. Rather call it Hibiki than Russian, because it's easier to pronounce. And other than that, though, yeah, you notice my equipment though. I did pretty much give everyone 2 guns and a barrel to make things go along faster. Though you may probably benefit from giving them like a radar, though it just shouldn't make too much of a difference in the end. So first node is simple. Like I mentioned before in E2, that kind of node can be potentially devastating because of they're probably going to be able to hit you with a torpedo. And you already saw there Hibiki got knocked to medium damage. So from there we go to node F, and then node F is pretty much the same thing, though you also have, I believe, torpedo cruisers along as well. And then same thing as node D, i.e. the previous node that we just encountered, you're probably going to get torpedoed. So node A, node C, and node E, you're like, no, there's not much information in the English wiki, so let me see the other wiki. So node A, well, pretty much you do not want to go node A, node C, and node E, because well, it's more nodes, but also it's more nodes pretty much. Not much data I can find on that at the moment that I can actually read, but that is to be understandable, because why would you go to node A and find out what's up there when you could very easily just go to node D and don't even worry about it? Because there is clearly no benefit to going up there, except for maybe having some heavier ships, but that doesn't really matter because you're a transport operation. Your escort fleet attacks first, and they're always the one who are under the biggest threat. So the English wiki recommends you have route support, but I disagree with that, because why do you need route support when you have fleet command facility, which pretty much almost guarantees you reach the boss? And then reaching the boss, remember, this is a transport operation. You do not have to kill the boss. You just have to A-rank the boss at a minimum. And it's a very easy transport operation too. You only need to do 550 on hard, 420 on medium, and 310 on easy. And as I mentioned in E2, and I should have mentioned this earlier, E3 shares the green ship lock-in. So anybody sent to E2 and E3 cannot go to any other map except for E7. But you truly should be picking your destroyers and girls for E3 based on what you have easily available. You do not need any elites, like you don't need Yukikaze, you don't need well, you don't need, like, I can't think of any elites at the moment, but I guess you wouldn't need your best heavy cruisers, but just bring the destroyers that you know you're not gonna need in the harder maps, because they should be able to do just fine. I mean, Udachi is arguably an elite, but you'll be fine without her, assuming you have other stronger destroyers, such as, or any destroyers. And in the end, if you end up using like some of your elite destroyers on this, you should still have good enough destroyers from your expeditions to use in the later maps. You'll just have a harder time. So you saw there in the pre-boss, now you have torpedo imps, and they're the standard one. You're probably gonna get torpedo. They're probably gonna cost maybe a retreat, maybe an escort back, and that though is onto the boss. So, but I'll mention this now because we're not gonna get another. Just no other. There are many other times to mention this, but I'll mention this now. Node G appears to be random what node you go to, though I haven't actually gone to any of the other nodes. I've always gone to non-G from node H. So maybe it's a thing from, maybe it's a product of having. Also, I'll let her speak later in the final kills, so I'll just talk over her now. But node G to node to the randomness, maybe only because people brought in aviation cruisers, because I seem to be going to node J just consistently. It's also been another person that's also said that they seem to go to node J repeatedly with aviation cruisers when they have 4 destroyers and 1 heavy cruiser and 1 light cruiser. So maybe you may have to do with how many heavies you have, assuming that heavy cruisers are considered heavy in this situation. Not really sure. But then once at the boss, you just gotta aim rank it. It's arguably not that hard. You could get unlucky, but it's not really a big deal. So yeah. E-3 is also the map where you can farm the U-boat U511 for the WG-42 guns, rockets. She drops apparently in node D and node F, so you can just farm it there in the first 2 nodes relatively safely. It might cost you a bit of resources to do it, though from what I hear, she's supposed to drop fairly often, even though she has not dropped for me at all. So I'll just be using, I may farm her for the rockets, but I probably won't unless I really start having problems, which could potentially happen, because people recommend that you need apparently a lot of those rockets. But that's pretty much E-3, the final kill, final transport operation. It arguably gets even easier, because then depending on what you're using, say you're using Kanko Fewer, you will have the HP. You might have the, what is it called, the map HP plugin, which will show you the HP of the specific map, and that also calculates how much more times you have to go into that. And yeah, the official plugin is called the HP Progress Indicator by Beigr, and that will calculate how much more times you have to go there with either A rank or S rank, and it also takes into account how many barrels or daihatsu you have, so you can take off exactly how many daihatsu and barrels you don't need and replace them with guns exactly. So as you can see there, it gets even easier, because you just take off it. Not only will your escort fleet be fully onto the team, your main fleet can also have a few guns here or there. So that's pretty much E3. E3 is arguably the easiest map in this event, because it's a transfer operation with relatively easy nodes. You just A-rank the boss and you're done. I mean, you may not have as many barrels or daihatsu as other people have, but it's still just a matter of going to the boss and just keep doing what you do. It doesn't get harder, it only gets easier. Pretty much, just do it. So yeah, that's pretty much E3. There's not much more to say about E3. Other than you might need to farm it later. I don't really have any recommended formations for farming at the moment, but you sure just do what you always do and just bring in whatever you bring in the same thing. You may be able to bring in some heavier ones, because I think you only go to Node A with slow ships, so you may be able to just bring the minimums for a transport fleet and then bring on like full on heavy cruisers or something. That might work. This may already be the maximum amount of heavy cruisers you can bring, so you might be able to just bring on. But regardless though, you will be able to just farm Abukuma. If you bring her along, she'll be fine here. You don't really need Abukuma for a later map. It's a lot of installation types, and while she can bring on daihatsu, you are better off getting more WG-42 rockets and giving, let's say, Oyudo, giving like Oyudo like 2 of them and then double attack for maximum damage. Though it's understandable if you can't actually accomplish that. That's just like the maximum you can get. You can also use Yubari because he's also a 4-slot light cruiser. And that, may as well talk about your. Assuming you're using, let's say you're using an aviation cruiser for this map, and just say English Ricky still doesn't know exactly how Node G works. So let's say you go to Node I and Node H, but Node I is just you get bombed by airplanes node, so you just need to survive those planes, maybe bring along some AA guns, I guess. And then Node H is just a submarine node. They're probably not going to be a huge threat. The biggest threat caused by those nodes is that you lose fuel, and I don't think you lose ammo. But yeah, and then but less fuel means less evasion, especially on this node. So yeah, I talked pretty much the maximum I can about E3 at the moment. I will be talking. I mean, the other later stuff is going to be after the boss is. Not the boss, but the transport is done. So yeah, I don't really have much more to. Don't have anything else to say more about E3. I guess let's talk about the boss. Boss is the old destroyer demon. She is a destroyer. She has, you saw there, 190 HP, 96 firepower, 167 armor, 120 torpedo, 81 AA. I don't really know the rest of her stats. She's armed with 2 main guns, pretty much their version of the midget sub and a surface radar. So yeah, the midget sub is arguably, well, like it's always a threat when they can have an opening torpedo at you, but it's not much to say. She's a boss, pretty much, and she does stuff to you, and she's pretty much in the way. She's what's preventing you from getting S rank, pretty much. But now that we're at the boss, you can finally listen to her actual line without me talking over her, in case you're into that stuff, which you probably would be. I don't know. Don't want to imply anything. But yeah, let's listen to her talk. And that's pretty much her line. Her opening line. This is, I'm fairly sure, the same as her other, as always, like as in it doesn't change. She says, let's see what does it say. She says pretty much like I said, if you want to attack me, I'll make you one of the waves. Attacking pretty much your standard attacking line and under attack. Standard attacking under attack line. sunk. It's not. You don't kill her necessarily kill her, so it doesn't appear to have one, I guess. Which makes sense, cause you're just transporting stuff, and she's just in the way, and she's watching you do it. But yeah, this is pretty much it. Pretty much no difference. I mean, yeah, there's one more heavy cruiser in A class who can get in the way, but you can see here, it's already over. I already have an A rank. I do go into just Nate battle because I was like, why not? But there's really no point because there isn't really much saying everything drops from the boss. So I'm not sure. I just felt like it, I guess. If I were you, would probably have been the best drop for me from this if I did S rank, but I didn't. Unfortunately, as you are about to see. No cutting from Abukuma because I didn't boost her luck at all, unfortunately. And yeah, you're gonna be seeing her survival fairly soon. Po pretty much does nothing, but UPT doesn't do much, and then Ryoko does the rest, and yeah. Just making her suffer pretty much, unnecessarily. And then yeah, transport operation is done. Oh, you know spoils that you succeeded before you even see the transport gauge go down and blow up. So that's pretty much it. E-3 is the first map that reforms with a girl. She's another destroyer. She should be appearing first. Let's talk about her. She is Kamikaze. She is the nameshift of the Kamikaze class destroyers. And yeah, no sure about historically, but here she is right now. Not her, not Isuzu. Kamikaze comes now. There we go. Now, when is the Matsu class destroyer going to be implemented? That's the real question. So also hard. This is a hard only reward. All difficulties get you Kamikaze. Hard rewards with the Boofers 40mm quad twin autocannon mount, which is a really good AA gun, especially for Maya, I believe. That's hard only. Hard gets you 9 screws and a medal. Medium gets you 5 screws and a medal. Easy gets you nothing. And then E4 is gonna involve land-based bombers and airplanes. Pretty much a land airfield. And with it comes defending the airfield, which initially was bugged and you didn't have to defend it at all. But we'll be doing E4 one day. And you'll be seeing that one day as well. And this is pretty much E3. Not much to say about E3 because it is the easiest map in this event. It's pretty much what would usually be E1. And then E2 would be probably E3, and then E1 would be, I guess, E2. Based on the first 3, we have not taken into consideration difficulties of the later map. I'll see you guys for E4, and good night.